Okay, let's talk about Mars because there's a lot of money being thrown at Mars. Explorations. I'm trying to talk like a scientist. Explorations. Not working out, is it? Let's discuss what we know about Mars. The fourth planet from the sun. The sun has solar flares. And every now and then these solar flares extract from the sun and head towards the United States, potentially the Earth, and can cause major disruptions in our technology and electrical grids and cause power failures and eventually the potential for, depending on who's the president, martial law. So let's examine the fourth planet from the sun, Mars. Um, the planet was allegedly historically named by the Romans. I assume this is correct, based on their god of war, Eris. Uh, the Egyptians called it Her, the Shah, meaning the red one. Chinese astronomers dubbed it the fire star. So the bright rust color of Mars, what do scientists say? Is it due to its iron-rich minerals in its regolith, the loose dust and rock covering its surface? Um, is it because the iron minerals oxidize, causing the soil to look reddish? And the cold, thin atmosphere, does it mean its liquid water cannot exist on the surface of Mars for any length of time? Recurring slope lineae, does it have spurts of briny water flowing on the surface? Can this evidence be disputed? What about scientists who disagree with each other? Some scientists argue the hydrogen spotted from the orbit in this region may indicate some sort of briny salts, a desert planet, half the diameter of Earth, the same amount of dry land. So, Mars, the highest mountain and the deepest, longest valley in the solar system. That is, if the probes are accurate. They call this the Olympus Mons, roughly 17 miles, 27 kilometers high, about 3 times as tall as Mount Everest. And yet, no human has been on Mars to measure it accurately. But they assume, because they're scientists, we are to believe them. While the Valles Marineris system of valleys, named after the Mariner 9 probe, discovered it in 1971, it reaches deep as 6 miles, 10 kilometers, runs east and west for roughly 2,500 miles, 4,000 kilometers. I hope that they measured this accurately because I would hate to think that I'm basing what I'm saying on inaccurate readings because I don't know any human who has been on the surface of the moon and measured it. Maybe they did, or maybe they just jumped around in their suits, or was it all a soundstage? But Mars, no human, to my knowledge, has been on Mars. So these NASA and science figures are assumptions that they're making. So they're claiming this and that, yet without ever being on the surface to accurately make accurate estimations. So are they guessing and creating their own animation and claiming that this is the probe? We got to be careful about NASA, and we got to be careful about these people who are exploiting space for the sake of throwing money, 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 money. And yet it will take about 30 billion or more, $2,000 per person for 12 months per month stimulus to get us out of this recession, depression, this economic crisis of the pandemic. And yet they want to throw money, money. They have no problem with the money going into space, but they got a problem with $2,000 per person stimulus per month. Oh, really? I would imagine if there was life on Mars, they would be saying, hey, they're not even passing this stimulus and they want us to communicate with them. Pass the stimulus, $2,000 per person per month for 12 months, and then we'll talk. But you're throwing all this money at space exploration, and you're complaining about how much it's going to cost to rebuild the economy? Are you kidding me? And they wonder why life outside this planet does not communicate with these people. You wonder. I don't. See, I'm a powerful believer in the existence of my guardian angels. We don't communicate with them because they don't even want to empower their own consumers. They would rather throw stimulus, millions and millions of dollars to corporate America and yet starve their own people. Yeah, right.